Hey, what's up you guys? My name is Gina Poldnev, aka Lil Ruski. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Welcome back, or welcome to my channel. Make sure to like and subscribe. It'll keep my content growing, it'll make me happy and stay sane. I'm literally gonna hop right into the video because I have some amazing tips for you if you are an incoming college student, or if you're thinking about going to college, or if you're in college and you're struggling. I am here. I currently go to Cal State Northridge. I'm on my last semester. I'm a senior. I'm about to get my bachelor's in criminology. I have a minor's in psychology. I feel like I know things now that I wish I knew then, and I feel like these tips are gonna be really helpful for a lot of people. So if you're a senior in high school, you're probably really excited to get out. I was incredibly excited to get out of high school. I didn't know what I wanted to do after high school, so I just did college because I feel like that's the standard and that's kind of the norm. I wanna let you know though, college isn't for everyone. Don't feel pressured to go to college if you feel like you're not ready. It's important to make sure that you're ready to do this because it is a really big step and it's a little bit of a different environment compared to high school. And so you want to definitely be sure that you're ready to do so, especially because college can be really, really, really expensive and you don't want to be failing classes and having to retake them because it's going to be really expensive, like I said. So my first tip actually kind of leads into this topic. Don't feel pressured to go to a UC or a top-ranked school right away. I highly recommend going to community college your first 2 years. I happened to go to Cal State Northridge all 4 years, but the school itself is quite inexpensive, so I thankfully don't have any loans. I have a couple of friends who actually DM'd me because I was asking people on Instagram what their expenses are, and I'm actually going to tell them to you right now. Okay, so one of my friends said UCLA for $60,000 in loans. My tuition was free, so that's just housing. So this girl has $60,000 in loans just for her housing expenses. Wow, that's crazy. One of my friends has $9,000 in loans, and that's just leftover. She's been paying it off. My other friend, he is $12,000 in student debt, and he's a junior at USC. I was asking what people's biggest advice was, and this was his. My biggest piece of advice for people is to do the math to make sure getting your degree with the loans you need makes sense financially. Getting a degree in philosophy is cool, but you will never be financially free by taking more than a few thousand in loans. So they have to make an educated decision, not just I want to do this, it seems cool, I'm going to college because that's what people do.
So when you fill out the FAFSA, the federal government will give you a balance of federal subsidized and unsubsidized loans. The subsidized loans do not accrue interest before graduation. The unsubsidized ones do throughout your time at school, so you should be paying those off if you have that ability because the interest rate is like 5%, and it's doubtful that you're making more than 5% consistently at this age with your savings or investments. I am, but that's besides the point. However, you should take out all the subsidized loans you can because it's pretty much free money until you graduate and you can pay that off. So you could be investing that money in theory and making a return on that and then pay off that same amount of money after the time value of money has taken into effect. And if you need to take out more money than the federal government has given you, then there are federal plus loans, which are parent plus loans. I don't know an insane amount of that because I've never had to take one out, but that's an option. And then after you've exhausted both the subsidized, unsubsidized, and parent plus loans, then you'd have to go to a private lender like a bank, like Discover or Bank of America to get additional student loans. That's where you really should reconsider making that decision because that's when it gets really tough to ever get out of that financial pit of debt.
Make sure that when you're going into college, you're making the right financial choice for you. Don't waste money on a path that's not clear and direct to making money because you're gonna end up sinking your ship and you don't want to do that. So my next tip for you is once COVID's over and classes are back in session, make sure that when you're in class, you're sitting in the front. If you're sitting in the back, you're not going to be paying attention, you're not going to be focusing, you're not going to be doing your work, and you're just going to skip through the class and hopefully pass, but you're going to learn absolutely nothing and it's just going to be a waste of your money. And make sure you're paying attention, and if you have questions, make sure you're asking those questions, making sure that you completely understand the material, because if you don't understand the material, you're going to get stuck behind. My next tip for you is one that I actually recently started doing my last 2 years. When you start all your classes in the first week and make a group chat with as many students as you can in your class, I highly recommend using an app called GroupMe. It's super simple. You can literally look it up on your website browser, or you can look it up in the Apple Store. There. You're just gonna download this app called GroupMe and you're gonna make a group chat, and then you're gonna add everyone's phone numbers. And the reason why I like using this app so much, I won't have a million texts in my messages. I can mute it if I I want, and I feel like it just creates its own school folder. I don't know, I find it really convenient. I recommend trying it out. Hashtag sponsor me, group me. Make sure you have that group chat, because if you miss class for whatever reason, you're gonna want to make sure that you have someone to rely on. If you have a bunch of people to rely on, that's even better. And it just makes the class a lot more fun and a lot more entertaining when you know a bunch of kids and you're just in a group chat. So yeah, I recommend doing a big group chat. Also, with this group chat, make study guides together, because it's going to take a lot less time to have 10 or 20 people doing study guide together compared to one person doing all of the study guide. In my personal experience, 90% of my classes, the grade is just 3 exams and not really any homework, which I personally like the most. I love having just 3 exams, especially if it's an essay exam, because I don't think multiple choice really proves your knowledge or proves your understanding of the topics, because all it is just memorization. You're probably going to end up forgetting most of it anyways. But I love when professors have an essay question or mini quizzes. I think that's when I definitely retain the most knowledge. It does get very overwhelming when you have exams back to back to back in 1 week and you have very minimal time, especially if you're working. My all 4 years of being in college, I've been working full time. I was a gymnastics coach the first 2 years, and then now I work at a restaurant. But yeah, so make sure you know how to manage your time when you're doing this, because it can be very stressful and it can feel like an overload, but you got this and I believe in you. Make sure you're reading the material and you're not getting behind on it, because you will struggle on the exams if you're not reading your material and if you're not understanding. Also, make sure that you're answering questions in class, because you want your professor to remember your name and your face. Especially if you want to go to graduate school, you need 3 letters of recommendation. So you better become really good friends with a couple of your professors, especially if these professors are in your field of study. They will definitely help you in the future getting into those graduate schools or getting a job. Be sure you're doing that, and be sure that you're remembering their name, you're getting their personal email, they have your personal email, and that you have that connection with them so that you can build onto that later in your life. Make sure they remember you. Okay, number 5, be involved and take advantages of all of your resources. This also ties into number 6 for me, so I'm just gonna conjoin them together. And join a club. In my 4 years, I unfortunately did not join a club. Cal State Northridge is a very commutal school, and I didn't live on campus. I lived at home because I live in LA, so I just decided to go for the drive. It would have been a lot cheaper to do it this way. And I never got involved with a club because I was always working, but I highly recommend getting involved, and I highly recommend taking advantage of all your resources. Literally everything. I had a gym that I used to take advantage of. Unfortunately, with COVID, we don't have it right now, even though we have to pay for it, which is really annoying. But whatever. Make sure you're using the computer labs. At my school, you have 30 pages free every day for printing for your classes. We had massage parlors and sleeping lounges on my campus, so I was taking advantage of that as well. We had a pool that I would tan at. Make sure you're taking advantage of that, because that shit's expensive. You want to be sure that you're utilizing all your resources for as long as you can, because they're gonna go away and you're gonna regret not being able to use them. Like I said, Cal State Northridge is a communal school, so I made like 3 friends, to be honest, and none of them are my close friends. I never really did anything on campus, except I did go to Big Show. A majority of schools have. It's just a big concert that the campus throws. That was a lot of fun, but aside from that, I didn't really make any friends. So make sure you're utilizing your clubs as well, and that you're making friends and you're building these connections, especially with people in your field, because you want to have those connections later in your future. Also, you definitely want to connect with people in your department. This also includes people who work in your career office, people who are your counselors, people who are your advisors. You want to make sure that you're well connected to all of these people so that you have an advantage when it comes to scheduling appointments and getting a job. Books are incredibly expensive. Please do not buy books. You will never need most of these in your entire life. Unless it's a book that you really, really like, then go ahead and buy it. But do not buy your books. Please rent them, and rent them off of Amazon or rent them out of your campus store if you don't want to go through Amazon. You can go on this one site. I will link it down below. All you have to do is put the title of the book in, or you put the URL or the publications, and you search it and you find a PDF on it and you download it, and then you have the book for free. There's a couple other sites that you can look up. If you look on TikTok, you will find plenty of people talking about plenty of sites that you can use, so use that as well to your advantage. Make sure you are using Rate My Professor. It is your best tool. It is your best resource. It is your best best friend. You want to be building relationships with these people because they're the ones who are going to be helping you in the future. So make sure you're using it. A lot of your professors are probably gonna say something along the lines of, people say you need to use Rate My Professor for that, but it's stupid, it doesn't work. Those are just the professors who are really bad and know they're really bad and have really bad ratings. And there's also a rule with professors where I believe after working 10 years, you're basically invincible and there's no way that you can possibly get fired unless you do something really, really, really bad. So these professors start to get really lazy and really bad, and a lot of them who are old don't know how to use technology, so you want to be sure that you're getting professors that you're going to obtain the most knowledge from. This one took me a while to get into the habit of, but if your homework counts, do it. If there's extra credit, do it. If you don't do the extra credit, you're just stupid. You're giving away free points that you could be using from that high B to the A, or from failing to passing. Make sure you're doing that extra credit and you're taking advantage of that, because not many professors give extra credit. Also, make sure that you're doing the homework, because I have a really bad habit of not doing homework and it ends up pushing your grade down a lot. And it could have been just that 0.3 of you doing the homework that could have gotten you from that 89.7% to a 90%. I know it's annoying, I know you don't want to do it, but just get it done. It's also going to help you with your studies, and it's going to help you perform better on your exam, because you're going to be knowing the material better, obviously, from doing the homework, but just make sure you're getting all of those things. My second to last tip for you is to take all your labs online. Unless it's a lab that you find very interesting, please take it in class. You're probably going to be taking a lot of your labs in class anyways if they're for your major, but for all of your GEs, all the answers are on Quizlet. I didn't say that. I don't know who said that. That was my cat. And my last tip for you, which ties into that, is Quizlet is your best friend. Make sure you're utilizing Quizlet and all of its resources to remember your material, to study your material, and to look up practice questions. If you're going into college, congratulations. If you're not going into college, congratulations. Whatever path you choose, I know you'll be successful and I know you'll be good at whatever it is that you want to do. Don't stress. I know it's really scary. I definitely have my cup of tea when it comes to stress and anxiety for my future, because you never know what's gonna happen, but you'll be good. You're doing the right thing, you're doing whatever makes you happy, and that's what matters the most. I love you guys so much, and make sure to stay tuned for next week's video. Bye.